So again, I can see a few new faces here. So particular welcome to you. So I'll just outline the format of the session. It's just for an hour. So I'll talk for a few minutes about some aspect of this practice of receptive mindfulness, or mindfulness as a wisdom practice. And then I'll lead into a sit. I generally don't lead the whole way through, but lead about halfway through. And then the last 10 minutes or so of the session, there's time just for you to, if you'd like to say anything about your experience, there's time to hear from a few people. But absolutely fine, of course, just to listen, hear what other people have to say. And generally, yeah, generally we have things in common with each other's experience. So we learn from listening as well as speaking. So yeah, I thought I had a memory in the past week, so that sparked off a couple of reflections in connection also with what I'm writing at the moment for this second book. So I was thinking about how a friend who now lives in New Zealand, after I was ordained, she had a kind of alternate interpretation of my name and what it meant. And she said she thought it was holy boldness. That's what she thought. It's quite difficult to say holy boldness. That's what she thought was another interpretation of Vajra Devi. And I really like this. It had a sort of playful quality to it, and it really sort of highlighted the Vajra qualities, which I liked. And it also linked me to Vajrapani, wrathful Vajrapani, who this big blue figure who I'd taken on as a visualization practice after ordination. So yeah, I had a sense of free energy and of being willing to go there. Holy boldness. So yeah, what I've been thinking about is spiritual boldness, and it can go too far one way, but actually it's because we need spiritual sensitivity as well. Though actually, what I really liked about Vajrapani is I felt that he had both. Um, but it's a quality, this boldness, that's very much needed in this kind of practice that we're doing because we're looking to be open to whatever's happening in the body and mind. And we're very used to unconsciously, I think, just having sort of filters on our experience. Um, Perhaps areas where we're not willing to go there. And that can be for good reasons. We can have a kind of psychological protection. Um, but with the quality of awareness that we're looking to cultivate, we perhaps can afford to investigate those areas. We're building new tools with which we can investigate uh, different areas of ourselves, be open to different views of ourselves. So spiritual boldness, I think, is partly to do about exploration, being having trying out new things, new ways of approaching body and mind. Um, and I think it's also about keeping the initiative by remembering awareness, by reminding ourselves, but that the main thing we need to do is simply notice what's happening, be aware of what's happening. The Dharma teacher, Joseph Goldstein, American Dharma teacher, he speaks of how we can be quite timid in practice, looking for the rules of how we're supposed to do something and maybe afraid to make a mistake. So I think that's really worth bearing in mind, maybe looking out for those, oh, what am I supposed to do kind of moments where we're looking to um, yeah, there's some sort of blueprint that we're meant to follow. And that's not to say that there aren't rules, but at the same time, there is helpful information and helpful principles that we can bear in mind. So it's not ruling those out. But Joseph's talking, he says we want to exercise the mind in a fearless way, which I really like. Yeah, that's and partly our enthusiasm or curiosity about the mind will give us that sense of fearlessness without needing to sort of gird anything, no girding of the loins. We actually, it's just a sense of openness and playfulness that makes us willing to experiment and to, oh, that's interesting. Uh, yeah, so what we learn in terms of the information and the principles, the basic principle is what helps keep awareness working in the mind. What helps us stay able to just in a very simple way notice what's happening. I think there's one area in particular where holy boldness really equates with courage, actually, to open up to what we might consider more unacceptable thoughts or emotions. So that can be a really interesting area. I think what is it that in our own psyche that when it comes up in meditation, it's like, oh, I want to shut that down. Don't want those kind of unacceptable thoughts or emotions. It might be rage, it might be lust, it might be a judging of ourselves or judging of others. So it's more often judging of others that we don't like in ourselves and want to sort of shut it down. So if we can learn to stay with those kind of emotions or thoughts, with an awareness that has kindness and spaciousness in it, I think we can learn a lot. If we don't fall into identifying with, well, I'm that kind of person, or I'm a bad person because I have these thoughts or these emotions. If we can just let them arise, uh, there's then the possibility of learning something about uh, the mind, learning about the mind and the heart, or what's not to do with the content, but just to do mostly to do with how things move on, how things change. Uh, how things have this sort of quality of insubstantiality, of a sort of stardust quality, or even just a dust quality. It's a little blow and it's gone. Um, so just being able to work with what I would call strong objects, being able to let them be. It actually strengthens the mind. It strengthens awareness and right view to be able to be with more sort of difficult experiences in the mind. Um, we can have quite a bit of fear of uh, certain things arising in the mind. Um, and I think if we're able to be with them in this really gentle way, gentle but fearless way, then we learn not to be frightened of our own minds. We learn that the mind has greater capacity than perhaps we thought to be with experiences. Um, and then we can learn, what feeds these kind of experiences, what intensifies them, and what decreases that kind of energy, what decreases the intensity of certain experiences, and what increases the intensity or the strength of awareness, that quality of open awareness. So we can learn a lot through not reacting to what appears in the mind, but allowing it just to be there. Excuse me. Um, this is with one proviso, which is an important one, which is that if something is feels too strong to be with, perhaps the awareness isn't quite ready for it, or the the mind state is just a really intense one. And we feel like it's overwhelming the mind, or we just can't be aware with that kind of state. Um, then what we do is it's then not helping to build awareness. So we recognize that and then turn the mind quite consciously towards a more neutral object. So that might be the breath. For many people, the breath is a helpful neutral object. For some people, it's not. So it might be to do with a broader body, maybe the sitting bones, but sitting with something that feels a bit more neutral. Sometimes seeing, if you have if you have a shrine that you're able to look at, in the cabin here, I'm very fortunate. I look out into the garden. So neutral stroke, sort of pleasant objects can be really helpful at those times when it's just a bit much for the mind in those moments, and absolutely no shame in that. We're sticking to the principles of just clearly knowing what's happening and what's helpful in that moment for awareness to increase and strengthen. Holy boldness. There you go. Okay, well, if you'd like to set up your posture, then we'll sit.